Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Matt here. Welcome to a video, guys. Welcome to another video. So I kind of wanted to talk about today, um, just a topic that I've been thinking about quite a lot recently, and had a lot of time to reflect past year or so, what was going on, and yeah. So just to talk about my overall self-esteem and how finding things out about myself, digging deep, has allowed me to really figure out who I am, who I want to be, who I want to become, and in turn boost my self confidence and my self esteem. Now, there have been times, well, especially the past 3 years, where had to endure a lot of difficult experiences. I've been through tons of jobs, job hopping, you know, a bunch of times. One job in particular, um, I was really hoping to start a career with, but that didn't pan out too well because in some of these jobs, especially some of these government jobs, because that's what I was trying to aim for. Um, they're very competitive, and if somebody sees you as a threat, and somebody knows that you're more intelligent than them, they try and do their best to try and shove you out the door in a way. And I'm sorry if I'm coming off a little bit. I have a little bit of an ego. I have a bit of an ego, but there are times where I think you really need to have an ego as a man. You really need to stand your ground on certain things and speak truth, be authentic. Um, the worst thing you can do, which I've been caught up in multiple times, and especially when I'm working for other people, is I tend to really diminish myself and put myself in a state of not being seen, not being heard, observing a lot. And that's one of the things in this life that I have to work on. I really have to push through that. And as I realized when I was getting older, is that the friends that I choose to be around, the people that I choose to be around, are fewer and fewer, just based on what I've gone through. Met a lot of great people in my life. I've had a lot of great friends from high school, but obviously after high school, people change, people move. I've lost friends there. I've made a bunch of work friends when I used to work for a government job. I don't really want to specifically mention the name or whatever, just in case somebody happens to stumble upon this video or my previous employer. But it was a very trying job that I thought I could make a career with, but that didn't turn out the way I thought it was going to be. But you know what? Things happen for a reason. I really believe that. I really think that if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. If it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. It's just a lesson. You got to go through it. You got to keep pushing forward. And it's those years where I was trying to start a career there. Little did I know on how you know you know people's backlash on it, and realizing people, if you because here's the thing. I was at the bottom of, pretty much bottom of the ladder, and there's somebody my age that was in the management position, and me and him kind of butted heads for a bit at the beginning. um, just knowing, because I looked at him as not as experienced, and didn't really know what he was doing too much. But I'm like, how did this guy get this position? It's so funny. A lot of these places that I've worked for, a lot of these places that I ended up working at. So many people, and I'm sure you guys have seen it too. If you ever worked with a company or somebody, you're wondering, how did these people get into these kind of positions to begin with? Like, was it through nepotism? Was it through family connection? Was it just luck? You know, and me and this guy butted heads for a bit, and it didn't really end up too well because I really outperformed him in many ways. I saw his weaknesses, and I saw where he wasn't experienced, and I made up for it. Um, and pretty much kind of did his job, even though that wasn't my job, and stood out in a big way for the place I was working at, and it opened a lot of people's eyes to the problems and how experienced and how you know that somebody is stepping up that's in a low level position and leading, doing a lot of leading, and that didn't really pan out the way I thought it was. They didn't, I tried to get back in last year, it didn't really work, and yeah, so one of the most important things for me anyway that I really got to work on is just really exiting the energy of just working for somebody. You know, it's just every time I do that, it always ends in disappointment. It always ends in um, frustration, anger. Whenever just being told what to do, just something about that for me anyway. I just can't do. I can't do anymore. So, and hey, if this channel takes off for whatever reason, if I come up with some crazy ideas and whatnot, and we get a lot of subscribers, and I can make income off this, hey, I've found what I'm supposed to be doing. But it's still a learning curve for me right now. Still gotta figure things out. I got a long way to go for sure. But yeah, well, especially the last 3 years for me have gone like this, just ups and downs and ups and downs. A lot of great things have happened during this time, and a lot of bad things have happened during this time. And again, I don't really want to name, you know, I'm a pretty private person, the experiences I went through, but I wouldn't wish that on anybody. I'm not sure anybody um, would really understand what I was going through during those times. If anybody is watching this that's a friend of mine, man, like, I do a really good job sometimes of like hiding what I'm really feeling and what I'm going through. I put on a smile. I just keep pushing forward, but on the inside, man, like during those times, oof, if you ever saw me privately, like I'm just I was stressed. I was not myself. And yeah. So I think the point that I'm trying to make is the more you uncover yourself, the more you find out what you really want, the more you'll gain confidence in what you're doing and yourself, especially. So yeah, if you're still hanging on here when I'm rambling, like I want this channel to be as authentic as possible, like I said again. Um, and I just want it to be like I know great things are on the way. It's just it's patience. It's a lot of patience involved, and I've been working hard. I'm not lazy, and I'm going to succeed. It's gonna happen. So you'll see during this channel what's what I'm going to be doing um, as a career for myself, and I think this is a good thing to look back on too, because I'm not sure how many people are going to be watching this, but it's going to be good to look back on these moments where I was at my lows and realize what I've gone through, and what I went through were blessings in disguise so that I grow into who I'm supposed to be growing into. So, yeah, hopefully you guys like my little ramble. You know, beautiful. It's hot outside. It's really humid. So I'm just sticking indoors for now. But I just came back from the gym before, and yeah,